Why? What is going on, everyone? Gels from Fitment Industries, FI Garage, and welcome back, or welcome to another episode of What Wheels Fit, where today we're gonna be taking a look at the Acura / Honda / whatever Integra, and more specifically, the third generation of the Integra, as that is the most popular years that we see in our fitment gallery. But before we go ahead and get into it, don't forget to subscribe, and if you're looking for anything wheel, tire, or suspension related, don't forget to check out fitmentindustries.com. Anyway, the third generation of the Acura Integra has a guaranteed fitment range of 15 to 18 inches in diameter, and widths ranging anywhere from 6 to 8.5 inches in width. And typically, we see offsets land anywhere between +20 and a +45 offset. So actually a pretty decent size range that is considered for the guaranteed fitment on these cars. So if you're looking at something that falls right between that range, you are for the most part going to be good to go. However, there's different types of fitment that fall within those sizes as far as what they're gonna give you. And that's what we're here for. So first up, we're going to take a look at some different types of fitment and then talk about what sizes they are to get that and what kind of styles and everything people are running on these cars. So first up, we have the tucked fitment on a 1999 Acura Integra 16x7 +40 and some Konig Wheels with a 205/50 tire setup on some BC Racing coilovers. Now, as you can see, this setup is not that much of an aggressive fitment, enough to be flush, but also clears all the suspension components on the inside with that +40 offset. Next up, we have a 1998 on some 15x7 +38 Konig Lightning wheels, running a 195/50 tire size on some function and form coilovers. And for a regular tucked fitment setup, that is pretty much going to be what you're looking at, either a 15 or a 16-inch wheel with a 7 to 8-inch width and an offset landing right in between that +35 to +40 mark. The next type of fitment we're gonna take a look at with these cars is the more popular from what we see type of fitment, and that is going to be the flush or nearly flush fitment. Now, with this type of fitment, we still see the 15 and 16-inch wheels as the most common sizes, and we don't really start to see those 17s coming into play until we get into the stanced setups. So, with that being said, first up, we have a 2000 Acura Integra on some very popular NKR PF1s with a size of 15x7 +41 with a 205/50 tire on some lowering spring suspension. Our second example is going to be a 98 running some MST MT11s, 15x8 +32 with a 185/60 tire size on some good old Tane coilovers. Followed by that, we have a 1995 running a 16x8 +35 on a 205/45 on some coilovers as well. Now, this is a solid reference point with a commonly available size if you're looking at running 16s on your Integra. We see this with no spacers, no fender modifications, no fender rolling or anything like that. So if you're looking for something, a solid 16-inch setup that's gonna give you a nice flush fitment, that's gonna be a solid starting point for you to look at. So our last example of a flush or nearly flush fitment is gonna be this 2000 Integra with some 16x9 +15s and a 205/45 tire, again on some function and form coilovers. Now, unlike the last car we looked at, this one, because of the lower offset, does require the fenders to be rolled just a little bit to get those wheels and tire to fit without any rubbing. Which brings us to our last type of fitment that we're gonna be going over for the Integra today, is the more of the stance fitment or more of the very aggressive types of fitment that get you that fender to lip aggressive setup that run lower offsets and larger widths and diameters. So with that being said, we have our first car to take a look at, which is a 2000 Acura Integra on some BBS RS wheels. Now, this setup is running a 15x9.5 -10 offset in the front and a 15x10 with a 0 offset in the rear. Now, this is pretty typical when we start getting into these types of fitment that we start to see staggered setups, and yes, even on front wheel drive cars, just for the reason of getting everything perfectly dialed in. So with a 195/45 tire setup all the way around, sitting on some function and form coilovers, rolled and pulled fenders, and some other suspension components, you can get a setup like this. Next up, we have a 99 with some ESM 007 wheels with a size of 17x9 20 with a 205/40 tire on some Airlift Performance air suspension. Now, even though these are one-piece wheels with a square setup, this car still achieves a nice fender to lip fitment. And then our last example that we're gonna take a look at today is another 99 on some ESM wheels, this time the ESM 002R. And these are gonna be 16x10 plus 15 square setup for the wheel size on a 195/50 tire, again on some coilover suspension. Now, still, we see some other suspension components to help adjust the camber and everything to get everything nice and neat and tucked away. And then the fenders rolled, of course, and pulled to give some more clearance so nothing is rubbing. You're not gonna have any issues with anything like that. So there you have it, some examples of what wheels fit the third generation of the Acura Integra. Now, for the most part, we're gonna see wheels such as Konigs, NKs, ESMs, and any other multi-spoke or mesh style designs being run on these cars, neither on function and form, BC racing, or Tane coilovers or some kind of lowering springs as far as the suspension goes. If you're interested in looking at any more of these cars and what they are running, in case you didn't see anything that you really liked or anything like that, you can head over to fitmentindustries.com, take a look at the Fitment gallery where we actually gathered all the data and these cars to bring to you guys for this video. There's a ton more over there. Go ahead and take a look over at fitmentindustries.com. And of course, if you're looking or if you're in the market for some new wheels, tires, or suspension, we have all that stuff over there too. But don't forget to drop a comment on what car you'd like to see us cover next. I'm Gels. We'll see you later. Peace.